We always do these videos for you guys showing how we set up aquariums, but we never show you what's happening in the first weeks of a layout. So it's time to do a checkup session where I'm going through a couple of the biggest aquariums at Green Aqua and show you what's happening with them, what kind of problems, what kind of positive feedback do we get from them. So stay with me to learn the different scenarios of a new aquarium layout. Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. The crystal red shrimp, 30 of them already waiting to be introduced. And at the end of this video, I will release them into the aquarium, into the layout to swim there freely. And I'm going to talk about what's happening with this aquarium, the centerpiece of Green Aqua at the moment. So stay with me. And I've got an app here, which is a technical fact sheet of all the aquariums containing what kind of fertilization we use, the CO2 system, the general plant health. Even we're going to give 5 or 3-star recommendations to certain tanks. So stay with me to see how many points Victor gave to each layout and how I actually changed it. Don't tell anybody. The first aquarium that we're going to check today is actually the oldest layout. We did this layout in a bigger team with Victor, Huba and Gary. I like working in teams with guys. Asian style diorama aquarium with terrestrial plants on top, waterfall over there, and then we have the cold mist flowing down. It has the fogger. On the right side, you can see the reactor, the Aquamedic 1000 reactor behind it, and we have the great Eheim 1200 XL Professional 3 filter. The advantage of this filter, the biggest Professional 3 filter, is that it has 2 inflows. It's been running for 8 months, you guys. I think that terrestrial plants are doing it fantastically. The mosses are growing nicely, Hydrolon is doing their job. Everything is cool with this, except I can see some deficiency signs. We have an auto-dosing with this one, and we are dosing ADA fertilizers, and this is why I think it is problematic to have lean type fertilization in the long term without adding any nitrates and phosphates to the aquarium. So when you have a layout that has lean type fertilization, you will inevitably see the yellowing of the epiphyte plants because you don't have enough nitrogen. So it's very, very important to add a lot of nitrogen and phosphate, not a lot, the perfect amount. So compensate for the lean type, okay? Very important. Ricardia, which is growing here and there, had already started to grow in between the hair grass, which is nice and compact right there. This is how good hair grass should look, except it looks like it has moss in it and it looks like it has algae in it. We only have 8 milliliters of ADA mineral and ADA Bright-K in this layout. Because of the huge volume of the rocks, I think that the 8 would suffice. How many stars did this get? Okay, this got 5 stars. Huh? Okay, thank you, Victor. The next aquarium is the 1-week-old bushfish layout. At this moment when we're shooting the video, the fish were not yet introduced, and you see a couple of things that are usually happening with new layouts and we never talk about, or we rarely show it. So first of all, the spider wood or redmoor wood that we have here has this whitish slime on it, which is happening almost always with all these wood types. Not a problem for the biology of the aquarium. The snails would eat it. We will not have snails because of the fish that we're going to introduce in this. You can brush it off with a toothbrush if you don't like it. Otherwise, this will just go away within 2 weeks. The second issue, which sometimes happens with new layouts, is the Elocaris pusilla, which is kind of struggling here and there, and you see some crypt melt. in the foreground. You see some thread algae here and there. Other than that, the flame moss is growing nicely. I have no issues. The epiphytes are okay. Actually, you see the Bucephalandra buckytcalam is flowering. Other than that, I'm quite happy with this layout. It has the two ADA lights. Fertilizers, Green Aqua. We have macro, micro, and carbon, and we are adding 5 from the micro and 10 from the macro. And this is the doser on the top right there. Normally, when you have rich type fertilization for 240 liters, you would need to have 12 milliliters of macro, micro, and also carbon. But one of the team members said that he thinks because of the plant mass, because we don't have that many lush, big growth, except the epiphyte plants in the middle, the micro is not needed in a higher amount. It has 3 stars rating because of the plant health. We have the Eheim 1200 XL Professional 3 filter on 100%, not clogged, hose is clean, pressurized CO2 okay. And when we move from one tank to another, you see that the Green Aqua tanks do not really have huge issues, and we don't have more time than 1 hour to maintain these aquariums for our team members who are doing the maintenance. So actually, I can safely and confidently say that more than 1 hour is not needed for these kinds of layouts. Let's move on to the next layout. This is Tommy's creation, the 90 centimeter, we call it cube, obviously it's a shallow tank. It was set up on April the 18th, which is 2 months ago, and he promised that these Helantium tenellum greens are gonna fill up nicely. They didn't. I can see some problems with the Cryptocorini over there. The leaves are kind of showing deficiency symptoms, and I can see the shrimp molting. I see some CO2 related algae in between the foreground plants. This is black brush algae. We have algae eaters introduced, they're hiding. I quite like all the plant choices that he made, and I quite like the fact that we have some plants hanging above it. So this is a nice old school type tank which will probably look good in about 6 months. It is fertilized with the ADA fertilizers manually. We have a huge Eheim Professional 3 which is actually running in half mode. So we didn't fully turn it on because this is the outflow of the filter, and if you would turn it on, we would probably have like a fountain here. It has 240 liters with this size, so we get 12 ADA and 12 Green Aqua carbon fertilizing in this one, so we add liquid carbon additives to the tank to prevent algae. This got like a 4-star rating on Victor's scale because it has some algae, as I mentioned before. We have a CO2 drop checker right here, which is dark green, borderline blue. I don't like this fact, so let me check what's happening with the CO2 levels. We've got some of it going in, so this should be enough. Probably the fact that this is so far away from the CO2 injection from the reactor, and the surface of the aquarium is very, very big compared to the volume of the aquarium. Okay, so that's why the CO2 is being drawn out. The next one is my Sensei stone layout, which has the new skylight light above it. Honestly, this is my favorite light at Green Aqua. Why? Because of 2 reasons. One of them, it's when you look into it, your eyes will not be hurt. The whole thing is hidden. The second thing is the shimmering effect that you see right here on the sand. And this has not been seen at Green Aqua since the metal halide, the HQI lights were discontinued. We love this light. It provides, to my taste, really perfect color rendering. It can be dimmed, controlled with an app. I love it. We have a similar EHEIM filter, same thing like with the other one. We had to restrict the flow, and it provides a lot of filter media. We squeeze in 9 or 10 liters of biological filter media into these filters, which are quiet, are doing their job. We love that. Okay, we have the same pressurized CO2 system underneath with a reactor, which enables us to not see any bubbles in the aquarium. 2 suction cups. one snail suction cup, one of these. So what's happening with the layout? This one is obviously properly done as far as the carpeting goes. What's happening with the mosses? Some of them are struggling, some of them are surviving. The good news is that it mainly survives, so I can report that the Hygrolon, the original concept that we had, is working nicely. You don't see the end of the Hygrolon anymore. So the whole moss started to creep onto the Sensei stone. And then we have the Tripartita Mini, which is recently trimmed. This is why it looks a little bit torn. We have one comment from Richie asking me, how should I fertilize this? Because what's happening at Green Aqua, we set up a new tank, and then we need to discuss with the team how this should be fertilized. We have Green Aqua manual type fertilizing, so the macro and the micro. And who gave this 3 stars? I'm going to change it to 5 stars. Huh? The problem is impact. Who said that? That was Victor. Victor, what is your problem with the impact? We have the great light above it, so I'm going to change it. Okay, you let me know in the comments. Do you see any problems with this? This was set up on February 29th, which is only happening every 4 years. And it was set up almost exactly 4 months ago. We're shooting this at the end of June 2024, so that's how we count these dates. And before we move on to the Luis Cardoso layout that I teased you with at the beginning of this video, let me present you quickly with the 650 liter biggest aquarium of Green Aqua. And I built this with Victor, and I love the rainbow shiners, how they coming here and they think that they're gonna get some food. The guys are following my hand. Hello, you wanna eat, don't you? This layout is being fertilized with the ADA ferts, and we push in 32 milliliters of the ADA ferts in it. And then I have the Flourish Advanced, which we use 40 milliliters. And then Monday and Thursday we add Cecum nitrogen, something that I told you in the previous aquarium that is needed, in this aquarium right here. I don't know if you see that. And then we have Cecum phosphorus to add some phosphates, and we don't add that much of that. And it was set up on January the 9th, which makes it about 6 months old. It has a pH computer. You can actually see the probes on the other side. Victor gave it 5 stars. The problem is CO2. I mean, he was tweaking the CO2 back and forth. I remember he was playing around with the computer to set up the proper amount of CO2, but as you can see, the Monte Carlo took over the layout completely. We don't want to trim it more. Victor and others told me that it doesn't look as natural. Too bright, they say. I kind of like it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Light intensity, 100% for the 3 ADA solar RGBs, and we have 2 huge EHEIM filters underneath this one, which have an app, and you can control it, you can stop it for the feeding. I see 0 algae whatsoever. The foreground is very clean. Plant health is super duper perfect. Nothing more to say. So let's move on to the last aquarium, the first aquarium that I introduced to you today, Luis Cardoso's layout. All right, we're back from where we started. First impression, 0 algae, maybe some green algae on the rocks, but that was brushed off. And we have a CO2 reactor underneath this aquarium with a bypass pressurized CO2. We have the Eheim Professional 5E, and then we have a second filter actually. So we have the two Professional 5Es running and ensuring a normal water flow on the two sides of the aquarium. Actually, the plant health is perfect in this aquarium. You can see the Bucephalandra flowering there. The Rotala blood red has reached the surface already. This whole layout is getting along quite nicely. Victor gave it a 5-star rating, obviously. Problems, none. Light intensity, 100% with the 280A lights. And actually, I'm very excited to introduce you, actually just tease you with a new Green Aqua fertilizer. Actually, two types of new Green Aqua fertilizers that are coming out towards the end of the year, perhaps. So they're not yet available, and we're using one of them. We're testing one of them in this aquarium. It's doing a perfect job. This is the Green Aqua Rich fertilizer, which is very similar to the Green Aqua Macro and Micro ferts that we used in other tanks before, and it's been tried and working well for thousands of aquarium enthusiasts throughout Europe. We ship to most European countries, and together with that we're going to have the Green Aqua Lean type fertilizing. So stay tuned for these two new exciting releases by the end of the year. We're using 12 Rich and 12 milliliters from the Green Aqua Carbon in this one, so it's working perfectly. So I think that there's nothing else to be done but let these guys find their place. I stopped the filters for a couple of minutes with the app, quite handy. And let me introduce some food for these guys. It's a Nano Green Aqua Best Bite Nano food. So our rule of feeding is that you should feed just enough for them to eat in 8 seconds, and then repeat this process 5, 7, 8 times. This is how to prevent food being left over. Okay, and with that we are done with this assessment or checkup video. You could see how we deal with the everyday issues at Green Aqua and how we assess and how we collaborate in the different aspects of aquarium maintenance and upkeep. I hope that you liked it. Please let us know which one is your favorite layout out of these, and we will see you next time. Thank you for staying here. Bye bye.